Okay, well, thank you everyone for showing up again. This is another recorded interview for City Council of Oak Harbor, Position 6. We are now talking to Sandi Peterson, who's vying for that position. Sandi, how are you doing today?
Richard, thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for coming on, and I really got a bunch of questions for you. You know, people are going to want to know and to hear a little bit about your campaign and what you're all about, and what you're going to do if you get on city council. So I'll jump right in. First question is, what made you decide to run for city council?
Well, this isn't the first time I ran about 12 years ago, but for me, local government is that which is closest to the people, which for here is city council. And I want to use my skills and my experience to help make the decisions about our budget, our public safety policies, our infrastructure, our zoning, because we're working on the comp plan, our development. These kinds of decisions really affect the quality of life of the citizens of Oak Harbor. And what we decide today also will help the opportunities and the outcomes of the future generations. And I just think it's exciting and important to be a part of that.
All right, great. And real quick, how many city council positions are there again in Oak Harbor?
7.
7. Okay, thank you. So I should know that, but thank you for telling me.
It's all right. It's an
Um,
odd number. We either have 5 or 7, and I know we have 7.
okay, perfect. So what are the 3 main issues you see as a problem that you want to help fix if elected?
I don't really see any of them as problems per se, but more things that need solutions. Uh, we need to focus on our infrastructure. It's aging, and we have plans to do buildings, so we have to really focus on infrastructure, which is the unsexy part of government, the stuff that runs under the streets and that sort of thing. We need to be fiscally responsible while we're doing that, and we need to be very careful to be forward-looking while we're talking about our workforce on affordable housing. The problem that most people see in Oak Harbor is the placement of Spin Cafe, which was set up to help people who are homeless get meals and services and that sort of thing. Our mayor is working with some information, some things behind the scenes to help with that, so that these people who need the help can get it, but that it's not in one of our districts, business districts. We're working on a soda district. I want to be clear, though, that the citizens of Oak Harbor don't think that I think that being homeless is a crime, because I do not, and it is not. Those are things that happen when those folks are preyed upon by outside influence. And this issue for me also goes up higher the chain a little bit, well, a lot, to what they do in Olympia that restricts what we can and cannot do and what they do in Washington, D.C. I happen to have friends both in Olympia and Washington, D.C. who do take my phone calls. So I hope to have some influence on that particular issue that will help us help those people who need help the most.
Okay. Thank you. So one of the things that your opponent mentioned, he was very, very specific about this. He had mentioned that he was upset about a city council vote that basically removed the rights of voters to make decisions about housing. Um, and that's something that he wanted to change. So what's your position on that?
I think what he got upset about, and I don't want to speak for him, but I believe he was talking about Ordinance 1999,
It was
which
1999. Yeah.
actually, because of that decision, he left his position as the chairman of the Planning Commission. And what that was is not housing, but was removing, per se, a vote of the people for the city council to sell parkland. The way that initiative reads is there would be public hearings, and I will tell you from personal experience, sitting both on the Planning Commission several years ago and going to the city council meetings now, unless something is important to a particular group of people, the chambers are empty. But we would have public hearings about whether or not we could sell a piece of land. The ordinance is written so that any land would have to be swap for swap and at 150%, I believe, difference in price, so that the entity buying the parkland for whatever they wanted to do would have to give us better than 100% back for what we paid for the parkland or what we could buy for it for. And you asked me how I feel about that, and I believe that it is fine for two reasons. We elect people to make decisions for us to purchase the land. So I believe we should also trust them to sell the land. Seems to me that they go hand in hand. We don't have to have a vote to purchase a piece of parkland. Why do we have to have a vote to sell it? And elections are not cheap. And I think people forget that. In February, the school district ran a single jurisdiction, single district, a single jurisdiction, single issue election. And it cost just a little less than $89,000.
Wow.
That's not cheap. You could buy half a piece of land for that, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you put it on, like, say, a November ballot where there are other issues and other jurisdictions, of course, that pie gets split up. But if they had done that same election in November instead of February and shared that with other people, it would have been about 18,000. So if you're going to do elections for that sort of thing, you got to be careful about when you do them and how you do them. And so I think that if a body is trusted to purchase land, they should also be trusted to sell it. So I'm not upset by that.
All right. And you mentioned some of it just recently, but what prior experience do you have working with local government?
Oh, well, thank you. When I ran for election before, one of the critiques I got was Mrs. Peterson needs to have lived here a little bit longer and be a little more involved in her community. And it was good critique. I took it to heart. And I sat on the Planning Commission. I was part of the Economic Development Council that we had back then. And for the past 10 or so years, I've sat on the Civil Service Commission, and I am currently the chairman. And that commission works with firefighters and police officers for their testing, for their hiring, and if they have outside of union issues that they need to help be resolved.
Oh, okay. Thank you. All right. So you know what you're doing is basically what I got from that. So yeah, I think you're definitely ready on experience. So let's see here.
I'm sorry, I'm one of those crazy people who will watch Channel 10 to see what's happening on the other commissions, and I want to know what's going on. I mean, we live here, we're here. I want to know what's happening. So I watch other commissions like parks and art and that sort of thing. Just want to have my fingers in.
Okay, good. So, do you think you're going to be able to work with the current city council to push your agenda for Oak Harbor?
No, I don't think they're doing anything that I'm horribly terrified by or incensed by. I have some good training. I'm one of the founders of a group here in Island County called Civility First. And what we do is teach people how to have good conversations that are productive about things that we don't agree on. And so I can take that training certainly to this job. But reasonable people can have reasonable disagreements about all kinds of things. And I think I'm strong enough and a good enough listener to find ways to agree with or disagree with my fellow counselors and not lose respect for myself or for them.
All right, good. And you actually mentioned that you one of the critiques of you 12 years ago was how long you lived in Oak Harbor. So let me ask you now, how long have you lived in Oak Harbor?
Just shy of 20 years.
Okay.
My husband is a retired Navy senior chief, and he got brought over here not in the Navy, but as a government employee to work on base, and so that's what brought us to Oak Harbor. But we were both were raised in Skagit County, so we're kind of close here. Anyway.
Okay. All righty. And do you think do you foresee having any trouble working with the mayor of Oak Harbor?
I don't think so. He and I have had conversations. And I think that we can continue having conversations about different ideas and ways of doing things.
All right. Perfect. Now, with that all being said, and you kind of answered this question already, but I'll ask it. So
Sorry.
you're going to be able to work with them, but will you be able to stand firm for what you believe is right for the citizens, even if it doesn't align with what they want to do? And are you going to be able to let your colleagues know, I'm not just going to bend on this. This is important to the people of Oak Harbor. Will you be able to do that?
Oh, absolutely. Anybody who knows me knows that I don't back down very easily or very quickly. Um, and I want to do what is right for the citizens of Oak Harbor, and I will be very outspoken about it and look to find consensus. And if we disagree, I'll find out why and see, where are we going to take this, keeping in mind always that we are there to serve the citizens. But I don't have any trouble telling people my opinions or getting my point across.
Yeah, and I do know you personally, and I know that is the case. I just had to ask.
It's
So,
fine. I was going to say, have you met me?
so looking right now at current Oak Harbor, management, that includes city council, the mayor, the whole group. What problems do you see there that you would like to find solutions to?
Well, you know, whenever an administration changes, people are scared. It's a little rocky. Is this new administration going to come in? Is the new broom going to sweep clean? They've been at this now a couple of years, and I think things are calming down. I think staff, for the most part, is happy. Couple of the staffers come from bigger cities, and they see things in a more urban way than I think Oak Harbor does, it's interesting to hear the conversations. I don't see that we have problems. I think we have good people working hard to do the right things for the city.
All right. Perfect. And my next question, as soon as it pulls up, um, okay. Other than, God forbid, a health crisis that we won't mention, is there any reason you foresee that you won't be able to complete your term if elected?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I am here for the duration.
Great. Yeah, and that's a question I ask everybody, and I think it's a legitimate question, right?
It
If
is.
there's something that might take you away if we elect you 6 months from now. So now talking about your campaign, you
Okay.
have raised. It's either almost. Last I checked, it was almost $12,000. It may be over $12,000 now, which I think is, if not a record, almost a record for city council in Oak Harbor. So how did you pull this off? And I also heard that you recently got two major endorsements. Who are those?
I was endorsed by SICBA, the Skagit Island Builders Association,
Oh,
SICBA, Skagit Island County Builders Association, and the North would be Skagit County Realtors Association.
okay. And yeah, how did you get so many people? Because you have a lot of donors. It isn't just a couple of big donations. These are a ton of small donations. How'd you do it?
Asked. I think I got the I'm just so humbled by this. I'm just very humbled that people would reach in their pocket and take out 20 or 50 or $100 that they worked so hard for and that they could use for something else. And I think it's because I am outspoken. I say what I think. People know who I am, and they believe in me. And that I can do good for Oak Harbor and by extension for them. 99.9% of my donors live in Oak Harbor or Island County. And the only one who lives out of county used to live here. And I just asked people, I told them what I was doing, and I asked them if they had any money that they would be willing to help the campaign with. And they stepped up. And it brings tears to my eyes that
Yeah.
they would do that.
Yeah, no, it's impressive. It is not uncommon for a city council race to raise less than 1,000, definitely less than five, or nothing.
Or nothing.
So for you to you were on par with some of the smaller. Like I ran for Island County Treasurer, which encompassed the entire county. You outraised me for that race in a local race. That's just Oak Harbor. So that's why I was pretty impressed. That was really good, and it was a lot of small donors, which really got my attention. And you're right; they're almost all from Oak Harbor.
Mhm.
So that means you've got local support. Is basically what it means. When you see a bunch of small donors from the area that you're running in, that
Yeah.
is a very positive sign for a campaign. So it's not, it's not a guarantee, but it's a
No.
good indicator. It's a
Yeah.
really good indicator. So, and then I'll ask. You've mentioned some of the stuff. We went over some of the things. Other than 1999, what is it that separates you? You think from your opponent?
Well, first of all, currently I'm out knocking on doors. I have signs up. I'm raising money. I chose to do what is called full reporting with the Public Disclosure Commission
Mm-hmm.
so that anybody who wants to can go and look. They can see my personal finances. They can see my donors. They can do the whole banana. My opponent, because he went to the PDC, he had to choose either open or undisclosed reporting. And I can't say what raises. He might have raised the maximum, which is 7,500. I don't know. Um, but I am out talking to voters. I'm listening to what people are saying. I've been given sign locations. I put my information in the voter pamphlet. Those are all things that separate he and I that I can see. Um, I have a diverse background, which is why I think that I got help from the two people who have endorsed me so far. Having been a realtor, I understand sales, I understand development, I understand what it takes to do sticks up on a building. I understand the difference between affordable housing, workforce housing, the multi-million dollar homes. I understand that as a package. Um, I worked as paralegal for a national franchisor, so I understand legal speak. Gosh, what all have I done? Oh, I did property management. So I know I've worked as an on-site manager and I've worked with the managers who manage. So I have this really nice, diverse little business background. Plus, I've owned a couple of my own businesses. One was house cleaning, and one was and both house and commercial. And then I've done things that were called party plans. So most people would understand Tupperware. I didn't ever sell Tupperware, but I sold candles for Party Light, and I did pretty well there. So I have a nice, big, diverse background. And I think that will serve me well um, as a councilman because I'm really good at listening and understanding just diverse, um, complex issues and how to figure out what's the core, what's the actual answer here. And I'm good at thinking outside the box and bringing things in that probably other people won't think of. My husband's really fond of saying, "I'm really glad I don't live in your head, Sandy."
And you touched on something important. And I'll clarify it. So, for those of you who don't know, she said there are two types of reporting in Washington State with the PDC, which is the Public Disclosure Commission. The open reporting means that you show all of your donors. You can see who donated how much, and it allows you to raise more than 7,500. And if you do raise more than 7,500, you need to be open. Um, if you raise less than 7,500 or you're planning to, you can do a closed reporting where we can't see anything. And her opponent has done closed reporting, and she has opted to do open reporting. So, and thank you. That's how I was able to see your donors. So I went to the PDC and I saw them. That's so I appreciated that. With your opponent, I couldn't, so I didn't ask him that question. Um, and then you also mentioned another important point that is kind of telling. I looked at the voter pamphlet because I'm in Camino Island, so I get the same voter pamphlet as everybody else. And I looked at your response in there; it was good. It was pretty well thought out. I liked it. And then I looked for your opponents, and he did not enter one. So that's another. Again, not a guarantee, but I'd say right now the indicators for your campaign, all the indicators I'm used to, are looking good for you. So that's it's a little positive note for you going forward. But thank you so much for coming on. That's all the questions that I had. Do you have one more very important question? If somebody wants to support your campaign and they want to get involved, how can they contact you?
SandiPeterson.com is the easiest, SANDI. You'll see it in the screen, Peterson, or my telephone number, 360-441-1415.
All righty. Well, thank you so much, Sandi. That's all the time we have. Always great seeing you. And on election night, I hope we might be able to get you back on not after we find out, before we find out, talk a little bit of how you're feeling. It's something that I try to do with the candidates. So I hope you'll jump on for 5 minutes.
We're going to be at the Elks Lodge from 7 to 9. So anybody who's watching and wants to come to the election watch party for me there is more than welcome.
I might have to do this podcast from there then.
All right.
So great. Well, great seeing you, and we will close this out. And thank you, everyone, for watching.
Thank you, Richard.